In the previous video, where I compared this against my other Geiger counters and realized that this thing doesn't work, I decided that eventually I would try to figure out why it doesn't work. Is the tube just broken? Is the electronics broken? Or is it a complete fake? Now, this one here is more expensive than this, and it works. And it's actually fairly good compared to this one, which is much, much better. This can read much higher than this one, and this one can, well, actually read compared to this one here. So I could tear apart my really good Geiger counter, not going to happen. Or I could take this one apart and compare the innards of these two. One problem came up right away. Now let's see if, I doubt it you can see into here. They've got security screws. So what I'm going to do is I'll take this one out to my garage and drill out the security screws. So I'll be back when I've got that done. Well, these two screws actually I was able to get out, but the two down here were either strip or security screws. And I didn't have to go out to the garage. I grabbed my Gremel and a set of bits. So I was able to drill them out, and you can see the remains there and there. So I can now take a look on the inside. Well, the questionable one, it's pretty easy to tell that the tube's fake. On the real one, if you take a look, this point here is actually connected to the center piece of wire. The other end is actually connected to and soldered, and I'll put a picture in the corner. It's attached to the glass, and there's a coating on the glass. So the resistance from this end to that end, and I'll just do a quick one, and this of course is in circuit because they soldered the tube on. Set it on the 2 meg scale. Resistance, it's an open circuit. Where's this one? It's basically shorted. So I'm going to just pop this thing out. I've got it disconnected at that end. Verify it's not the actual board. And it's a dead short. So the tube's fake. What else is fake on it? Let's see, what can I do next? So now we get into the dangerous high voltage part. Not betting on that one. There should be 300 to 600 volts between this point here and this point here for the tube. I've got my meter set on 1000, so hopefully I don't blow up my meter. And on the anode there's 3. Okay. Maybe I can adjust down to the 20 scale. There's 3.7. Far cry from the 300 to 600. So the power supply isn't putting anything out, or it was burned out due to a dead short in the tube. So this thing's looking fake. The only thing I'm getting out of this is probably this little lithium battery. That was a very expensive battery for me. And the fake. Oh, I can flip this over. With power applied, it's indicating that it's working. Oops. Not worrying about getting electrocuted on this one. And it shows the battery's charging. And the real-time reading is Ooh, not bad. What happens if I actually stick this tube back in for the dead short? Obviously, I'm not worried about being zapped. And it's still reading. There we go. 0.23 with a fake tube. Oh well. So let's look at the other one. So I've got this turned on. And I'm treating it very respectfully due to the high voltage. Now, obviously I did this before. So, I'm going to check it with this meter here. "74 volts. That's not too high. 74 volts. That's not too high." Well, guess what? Input impedance of that meter probably sucks. So, let's pull out the fluke. And what's the fluke gonna say? 326 volts. And it's probably getting pulled down a tiny bit by the fluke. So there's a bit of a difference in the quality between this fluke and this meter here. So let's take a look at the guts of this thing. You got your voltage coming in here at about 4.5 volts. And boy, does this ever look like a capacitor, diode, voltage multiplier. So I bet you they step it up a tiny bit on with this inductor, and then they do the rest here to bring this up to around 300 some odd volts. Now you can see they've decided they don't need a few parts in here. There's one over there, one there. Then of course you've got your piezo, and down here it looks like where the buttons are on the far side. And of course your cable ribbon going off to the display. Let me just rotate this over. Yeah, so the buttons down here and your display. So, not a bad design. Getting the voltage up there. I still wouldn't want to be zapped by this thing. It is a bit of a pain that they soldered the tube in, but they probably did that simply for reliability. This thing is nicely built. So that's about it for this one. I'll link a couple of other videos I've done on this type of equipment, because it is an interesting area and you shouldn't be afraid of radiation. Maybe I'll put one of the links to when I was glowing in the dark.